Hi, this is Alessio. Hope you're well. In this video, I want to do a very quick update on a couple of key cryptos. So we'll do an important update on two altcoins, two crypto markets, and also I'll mention an important update on a currency, on a major currency as well. So many of you asked me to cover XRP, so that's what I'm going to do first, and then I'll mention another crypto in a few moments as well. XRP, before I actually cover this chart, let me first of all mention this. You may remember about a month ago, I put out a video and I warned about XRP. I said, look, and this is the video itself. You see, beware of a risky pattern on this crypto, a dangerous pattern, in fact. What was that pattern? Well, let me show you. I said, look, XRP is right now in a triangular formation. And I said, beware of a messy and unpredictable pattern, because a lot of the times what happens is markets break out of the triangular formation and they fail. Okay, so we see a false breakout. And I showed you this. As you can see, this is the projection I showed you about XRP. I said, look, be careful. What could happen is, this is the very video itself. I said there are likely to be several breakout attempts, mostly false breakouts. And what I said was, look, be careful, because what might happen is you might see XRP breaking out, break into the structure, and then, as you can see, falling back down to support again. In other words, a pump and dump situation. And did we get that? Yes, pretty much. As you can see here on XRP, broke out of the triangular formation right there. And then what happened? Fell back down to support, tried to get something going, failed again, and fell back down to the triangular formation, to this trend line you see here. So pretty much this has been happening according to script, breaking out of this structure, breaking out of that triangular formation that you see there. And yeah, so far what you're seeing here on XRP is a very good example of a false breakout. Now, let me just bring this in focus and show you something quite important. Firstly, XRP, and I mentioned this today in the member video update as well, which is that, firstly, that XRP has tested this trend line, this blue line here, once, twice, and now comes third time. This is the third time now it's coming to that trend line. Okay. Not only that, if I zoom out a bit, something else quite interesting here as well, which is that there is a trend line running underneath XRP here as well. And that's the red line you're seeing here. If we just connect this low, almost that low, this low, this low, this low. So you can see there's a rising sort of trend line that's running through here. And once again, you can see XRP now, once again, coming to test that trend line. Now, I want to ask you a question. And I'm sure if you've been watching our previous videos, you'll probably know the answer to this question. The question is, do you think that the more times price comes to test a key level, like a trend line, you see here, do you think the more times price comes to test that level, do you think it becomes stronger and more powerful? Is your answer yes or no?
No! No, Aaron, you're being strange. No!
Exactly. The answer is no, because you see, the more times price comes to test a key level, like a trend line, the more times it comes to test that level, the more weaker it becomes. Some textbooks say it becomes stronger. That is no longer true. That is nonsense. Actually, it becomes weaker. The more times price comes to test a key level, like a trend line, the more likely it is actually to break that level. This has been, I don't know, more like the fourth or fifth time we've come to test this level again. And I think on the balance of probabilities, favors that this level is going to potentially break to the downside. I think that's more likely that we're going to see failure at this trend line. Which means that if we see a failure of that trend line, if we see that level breaking, which is about the 0.30 level, if that level breaks, which is probable, then we could see a move down, a flush down towards the 25 region, which is the next major level of support. And it's probable that the 0.25 level, which is a key level of support, might actually hold XRP. But again, given the fact how many times we've been testing that trend line here now, and given the fact there's been a false breakout of that trend line, the balance of probabilities favors that XRP could potentially break the support and move down towards the 0.25 levels. The only way for XRP to rescue itself right now would be if it made a move above 0.32 or 0.33. If it can do that, it might be able to get rescued. But at present, the momentum and the strength of these false breakouts seems to favor a more bearish scenario. Let's take a look now at the chart of Dash, one of my favorite cryptos. And so far it's been doing quite nicely. However, it has had a corrective move. All I would say about Dash is this. It needs to protect. Dash seriously needs to protect this level of support. Actually, let me draw that a bit lower. So the support level is going to be around about this level here, this support level you see here, which by the looks of things, that's going to be at 112 half. Yeah, 112.5. So if Dash is going to be able to continue this upward move, it needs to protect 112.5, which is also where the velocity position is. If Dash breaks and closes below 112.5, forget it. Okay, this rally potentially has failed. All right, guys, so 112.5 is the key level on Dash. It needs to protect that level. If it fails to protect that level, if it falls below that level, 112.5, and closes below that level, then this entire rally most likely has failed, and we could see a flush down to key support levels, previous lows, for example. And of course, let's not forget, anything that happens on Bitcoin could influence what happens also on Dash and XRP as well. So there's going to be some correlation between those as well. All right, guys, I want to also quickly finally mention one currency as well, and that's the British pound. You might remember I mentioned the British pound in a very recent video, saying this currency is on the edge of a cliff. And what I was talking about was the fact that the British pound had come once again to test the trend line. And by the way, this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. You see how the British pound came to this trend line here? And I mentioned, look, the more times that any market, doesn't have to be currency, doesn't have to be a crypto, any market. Anytime a market or price comes to test a key level, like a trend line, over and over and over again, like the third or fourth or fifth time, the more weak that support level or that trend line becomes. And I said, look, very likely we could see a break of this trend line, and it did actually do that. It broke the trend line and it's flushed down lower. And in fact, we got momentum now pushing further lower, pulses far to the downside, which means what, guys? Which means that the strength in the dollar and the weakness in the euro can only mean one thing for the British pound, which is Exactly. Well said, Mr. Davis. Now, the British pound is a little bit oversold, so it might have a little bit of a bounce back to resistance. But ultimately, I think that the momentum and the trend in the British pound continues to remain with the bears to the downside. All right, guys. Thanks very much indeed. I'll see you guys in the next update. Thanks a lot.